two people involved. When I was talking yesterday, somebody said, what do you do with a parent with cancer? Well, two people involved in that, parent, child. Different things are involved. Now, for a child, apart from the practical stuff, which I've covered before, make sure, you've got all the paperwork, their wishes, you've labelled all the family photographs, where the will is, you've got maybe a mountain of stuff, where it's going to go or how to get rid of it, all that stuff. But that's practical stuff. Emotional stuff, one of the most important things is to resolve things, because one of the most difficult things is for children who have had a very bad relationship with their parents, or an absent one, or have had to cut them off many years ago. If you have a parent that you are close to and you love, you can talk to them, you can tell them that you love them, you can discuss this stuff so that when they die, that they, as a parent, that when you die, your child will know how much you love them. The child will know how much, their parent will know how much they love them. It's all kind of tied off with a bow. It's not the same when it's a parent you have a very fractious relationship with, because all the time that they are alive, no matter how remote, there is this chance that you can resolve it, that your absent and abusive parent can come along and say, I'm so sorry, my darling, I loved you desperately. It might not help, but it would be a resolution and a conclusion. And if they die, then the possibility of that resolution and conclusion is removed, and that can be really hard to deal with. So I'm not saying that you should go and forgive your abusive parent, not at all. I'm saying that sometimes, in fact, you need to be able to go and say to them, I wanted you, I needed you, you let me down. Why did you let me down? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? So that you have given them the opportunity to say what you needed to hear. And if they don't, at least when they die, you can think, I tried, I did the best I could, whatever. You can come to terms with that, and it's easier to come to terms with things and to resolve them when you have appreciated that this will happen. That sounds a bit convoluted, but I think you know what I mean. Likewise, from a parent's point of view, most parents are terrified of what will happen to their children when they're not around. And it doesn't matter if their child is 4, 14 or 44. We always worry, especially if your children are off out in the world, living independently and don't really need you for anything. It's a lot easier. But if your children, as so many children now are, slightly reliant on their parents for the occasional loan here and there, maybe they live. With the housing situation being so uncertain, I know so many parents whose adult children come back to live because they have no opportunity. They lose their job, they lose their flat, they break up with their partners. The only thing they can do is go back home while they sort themselves out. What happens if that home is not there? Will they be homeless? So many people are rough sleepers. And trust me, when you're ill, you do tend to catastrophise, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is a strange and alien place, and we will not talk about it, but that's there. So keep that in mind when you are dealing with a parent who may be terminally ill. You don't have to make it morbid. In fact, quite frankly, it isn't morbid. And if it turns out that they're not, in fact, as terminally ill as you thought they would be, it doesn't really matter, because you've resolved unresolved things. You've sorted things out. And if your parent that you thought was going to be dying on Tuesday doesn't die at all, or doesn't die for another 20 years, it doesn't matter. You've sorted all this shit out. So there's no downside to that, but only an upside. And I think that's quite a good thing.